صل على مبيننا صل على محمد.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear viewers, and welcome to another episode on the life of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, coming to you from here, MT International Gambia Studios. In our previous program, we have talked about a number of Sariyya, and one of the last ones we talked about was that of Muhammad bin Maslama, and it was followed by another one that was with Abu Ubaidah bin al-Jarrah radiallahu anhuma. And on today's program, we are going to start with the Sariyya of Zaid Bin Haritha radiallahu anhu to the Banu Sulaim. And the next one we will also discuss about was also by Zaid Bin Haritha radiallahu anhu on two occasions. But Ustaz Demba is here with me in the studio on my immediate right, and on my far right we have Ustaz Ruhan Ahmad. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the program. Ustaz Demba, let's start with the first Sariyya of Zaid in this year, that is Rabiul Akhir, in the 6th year after Hijrah. You tell us about this Sariyya, and that is to the Banu Sulaim, whom we have discussed a lot about in our previous programs.
Thank you so much. A'udhu billahi minash shaitan rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Still, the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, very vigilant with his companions. They have the knowledge of every threat almost from the surrounding of Medina. Towards the Najd, towards Najd, there reside the family or the Banu Sulaim. Banu Sulaim, we already spoke about them being always ready to attack the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the companions in Makkah. Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the 6th year after Hijr, on the Rabiul Akhir, Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent Hazrat Zaid with few companions towards Najd, and they went towards the tribe of Banu Sulaim, and they reached a place called Jamum. At this place, the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because he already sent these people, so there were always some instruction. When these people reach there, the disbelievers also, the Najd, the Banu Sulaim tribe also, noticed their presence. The place was empty, Jammu was empty. So when Zaid, a freed slave of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with some of the few companions with him, when they reached that spot, it was empty. They were able to trace some people, or among them there were some people who were left behind, and they were able to get hold of one woman called Halima. She was a lady from the Muzaina tribe. She was captured by Zaid and his people, and Zaid bin Haritha radiallahu ta'ala anhu attacked the place because they got information from her to where these people went, and Zaid attacked those people and they fled, they ran away. But since this lady was the one who gave information to Hazrat Zaid and the other companions, this lady was taken as a captive, and some other prisoners of war also were captured with some properties, some of their belongings was also captured by the Muslims. So they went back to Medina. When they reached Medina, and interestingly, this woman, Halima, the husband was also captured, because he gave intelligence to Zaid and the other companions, and they were able to capture some prisoners of war, and the husband was part of them. And this husband and Halima, when they reached, they were taken to the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Halima giving news to the Muslims, sacred news to the Muslims, to the whereabout of this tribe, or whereabout these people. Then
in particular, the place where they graze their animals.
Jammu, yes.
Where they graze their animals.
Their animals, yes. So she was taken to Medina, and the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his nobility again reflected here. and his companions, they were very noble. They released that lady due to the favor she have done for the Muslims. And even not only the lady, even the husband, they released them together. Not only that, with their property or their belonging was also given back to them. And these two people returned happily to their place without anything, and they returned with their property to their various place.
Jazakumullah, Ustaz Demba. Ustaz Rohan, we have seen that that was the month, but that Zaid went out. But immediately after that month, in the next month, we would say that the Prophet ﷺ would also send him on a journey, and that is also called the Sariyya of Zaid Bin Haritha radiallahu anhu. And this time it is not to the Banu Sulaim in Najd, this time it is to Ease. And it all happened in the same year. In fact, there's no month interval. It's just like from this month to the next month, he was also sent out. You tell us about this second Sariyya.
As rightly said, the gap is of just few days between the two Sariyas. And the Prophet of Islam sent Hazrat Zaid bin Haritha radiallahu anhu, as the commander-in-chief of 170 companions to lead this Sariyya. And the reason was the caravan of Quraysh, time and again they used to move from Mecca to Syria, and they used to pass very close to Medina, and their caravans were always loaded with weapons. And since they were threat to Muslims, and not just a threat to Muslims, but they will kind of instigate hatred against Muslims among the tribes whenever they are passing by, from wherever they are passing by. So that was the situation, and keeping that in consideration, the Prophet of Islam decided to send Hazrat Haris radiallahu anhu with a group of companions, which is numbered up to 170. When these Quraysh, with their caravan, with their loaded items, they were coming back from Syria, and when they got to a place by the name East, so Zaid bin Haris radiallahu anhu used that opportunity to intercept these people. And when they got there, because since it was so immediate, the opponents could not defend themselves, so some of them they fled away immediately, and some of them they were captured as prisoners, and all the belongings were also brought back to Medina, which were part of that caravan.
Jazakumullah, Ustaz Rohan. Ustaz Demba, we see that this is not the first time in the history of Islam where we are hearing that the Sahabas intercepted a caravan of Meccans. And in the Battle of Uhud, we know that the money that was used in that battle, it was in a caravan that was supposed to be intercepted a year before in the Battle of Badr. At the same time, in the Battle of Badr, that caravan escaped, and the proceeds from that caravan were used to fund everything about the Battle of Uhud. So we see that the Prophet ﷺ will not just intercept these caravans in order to, starve the people of Mecca, but then to teach them a lesson. Because like you have just pointed out that the caravan was fully armed. We know sometimes there will be about 200 people who are well armed, and we know in those days Mecca how people fight. But then they do not only go out for business, they also go out to instigate others against Islam. Wherever they pass, they make sure that they make those people enemies of Islam. Therefore, we do not think that any person will just say that, okay, they intercepted this caravan because they want to take the belongings and, make these families suffer and starve them to death. But the Prophet ﷺ, we have seen even when Mecca was in drought, they will come to him request for prayers, and he will pray for them so that they can have rain and their cattle and their people will not suffer. So I think that is one point that I should have talked about before anybody else will think these caravans, the Prophet ﷺ will just wake up one day and say, go and attack this and go and attack that caravan.
And the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he himself goes out to meet some people. In our previous programs, we discussed this. To meet some highway people bandits who will always loot the properties of people around Syria, the border to Syria. Yeah. He went up to that area just to make sure that people there are protected.
Yeah, but these people could not be protected because they were the ones who were instigating others against Islam, because they were doing almost the same thing, not seizing even if they had any opportunity of seizing the properties of Muslims, they would do that. So Ustaz Demba, let's talk about the next point here. The son-in-law of the Prophet ﷺ, who was captured among the captives of war. And we know that this is not the first time he was captured. He was the husband of one of the daughters of the Prophet ﷺ, to be specific, Zainab radiallahu anha.
Thank you so much. Abul As bin Arabi was a Meccan, and during this incident, the Sariyya of Zaid Bin Haritha radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he was captured as a prisoner at this place So he was captured, brought to the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was the son-in-law, as you rightly mentioned, of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because he married to Hazrat Zainab, the daughter of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you can recall, the same man was also captured as a prisoner of war during the Battle of Badr, and he was released by the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam on the condition that when he returned to Mecca, he will find way out to send the daughter of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to Medina, which when he was released, he fulfilled that, and he sent the daughter of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to Medina, and she arrived in Medina safely. So this man was captured, Abul As, he was captured during the Sariyya of Hazrat Zaid at a place called Is as a prisoner. And at this time, when he was presented, and of course, he know that there are consequences for the deeds he have committed. But then he tried to communicate with the daughter of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam at the time, Hazrat Zainab radiallahu ta'ala anha, telling her that you should find a way out for me so that I'll be safe. So you can imagine somebody who was a husband and telling you this, she immediately tried to help this man, his husband. So it so happened that during prayer time, at Fajr time, when they were praying, this Hazrat Zainab called the Muslims' attention. Oh, you Muslims, Abul As is under my protection. So the Muslim heard that, and the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam heard that. When they finished that morning prayer, Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told the Muslims that the beauty of the Muslims is that they are like believers, like a single soul. So when one of them grant anyone protection, then it is obliged, or it is obligatory upon all of us to give them that protection. So here, Hazrat Zainab, the protection of Hazrat Zainab to the husband is being guaranteed, and the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam assign or instruct the daughter to take care of Abul As with his hospitality and many other things, but forbid him only one thing: do not go to him in marital affairs. So this was the instruction the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave, because he told her at this circumstance, you are unlawful for him, because he's an infidel, he's a disbeliever, and you are a believer, you are unlawful for him. So this daughter of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam stayed away from Abul As, and then when few days after that, Abul As went to Mecca. But this time around, he went to Mecca not to go and settle, to stay in Mecca, but to go and prepare, find way out, and then come and settle in Medina. Then he took the Shahada, and then upon that, the Holy Prophet ﷺ, without tying a fresh nikah, he instructed that now their marital affairs is lawful between Hazrat Zainab, the daughter, and then Abul As bin Arabi. So in this way, this narration have made this clear that there was no new fresh marriage conducted by the Holy Prophet ﷺ. But in another instance, some other narrations, it is written that the Holy Prophet ﷺ conducted a fresh nikah for this. But for us, the first one is the one which is authentic, and we believe that no fresh marriage was conducted by the Holy Prophet ﷺ. And the reason being that we have some other Quranic evidence in which this subject was discussed also on 3 instances or 3 occasions.
Jazakumullah Ustaz Demba. We have seen that the benevolence of the Prophet ﷺ and the comment he made about the protection that the daughter has given out is something that in fact we should shed more light on. In that comment he said, if one Muslim give their word, it's like the words of the Ummah, because the Ummah is like a single body. That is very profound. This was a woman in her house calling out to the Muslims, telling them, I give protection to Abul As. The Muslims came out and the Prophet ﷺ said, if she give protection to him, it is like each and every one of us saying that we have given protection to him. Until he reaches his safety, it is our responsibility to protect him. And Ustaz Ruhan, when it comes to these marital affairs, you tell us the relation that a Muslim can have with a non-Muslim. Can there be at all any marriage? When we say non-Muslim, we are talking about Christians and Jews, because we know. Yes.
So, as he made mention of, there are some different narrations. The other one said the nikah was tied again after he accepted Islam. But in any way, the relation of a believer and the infidel, it was classified on 3 occasions. Because like in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse number 222, Allah the Almighty addressing the Muslims said that, O ye Muslims, marry not idolatrous women until they believe, and give not believing women in marriage to idolaters until they believe. So, by looking at this verse of the Holy Quran, the subject matter concerning those who are already married is not clear here. So that's why the scenario he presented, like the nikah was not performed again, tied again, then they live together, without having a fresh nikah, then that makes sense.
Yeah, because in fact there was no declaration of
exactly before
nullifying their nikah.
Nothing, yeah, exactly. There was nothing like that in the Holy Quran, or nothing was revealed to the Prophet of Islam concerning that. But then, at the time of Treaty of Hudaybiyah, concerning that a verse was revealed to the Prophet of Islam. It is chapter 60, which is Surah Mumtahina, verse number 11. In that, Allah the Almighty says that, O ye Muslims, when believing women come to you as refugees, send them not back to the disbelievers. These women are not lawful for them, nor are disbelieving men lawful for Muslim women. And O ye Muslims, hold not to your matrimonial ties of the disbelieving idolatrous women. So in this verse of the Holy Quran, this matter is kind of clarified, but what we need to look at is the occasion when this verse was revealed. It is at the time of Treaty of Hudaybiyah. And this also clears another, wrong thought that can develop, like why was not their nikah nullified. The reason is, as he made mention, he accepted Islam and he settled in Medina. So then in Surah Al-Ma'idah chapter 5 verse 6, Allah the Almighty says that, O ye Muslims, this day lawful for you are chaste believing women and chaste women from among those who were given a book of law before you. So this refers to those people or those believers who were given, like the Christians, the Jews, they were sent, like prophets were sent to them, and they were sent with guided book. But then that's another story, that it did not last in its actual shape. It was deteriorated. But then Allah the Almighty somehow he gave the permission for Muslim men to get engaged with a believing women of another religion. But then that is to be noted. The thing to be noted here is that that's the last option. Different scenarios can come up then which can eventually result to that happening. But as earlier mentioned, Allah the Almighty himself has stressed that we should marry the one which is the most pious, the most rightly guided partner. So that is the first choice. Then secondly, due to different scenarios, something can erupt, and which concerning that into consideration, Allah the Almighty gave the permission for Muslims to marry another partner who can be of a different faith.
So what I understand here is a Muslim woman cannot, according to the Holy Quran, cannot be married to an idolater. That is someone who worships something else apart from God.
Yes.
But a Muslim woman can be married, a Muslim man can marry to a Christian lady or a Jewish lady. I think if I understand that very well.
I think, in this context, let us see the Holy Quran. There are, earlier on us, we spoke about them. There are 3 verses on 3 different surahs. The first surah is Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 222. وَلَا تَنْكِحُ الْمُشْرِكَاتِ حَتَّى يُؤْمِنَ وَلَأَمَّةٌ مُؤْمِنَةٌ خَيْرٌ مِّن مُشْرِكَةٍ وَلَوْ أَعْجَبَتْكُمْ وَلَا تَنْكِحُ الْمُشْرِكِينَ حَتَّى يُؤْمِنُوا.
Okay.
That is, and marry not the adulterous women until they believe. Even a believing born woman, a slave, is better than an idolatress, although she may highly please you. And give not the believing woman in marriage to the idolaters until they believe. This is very clear.
So this verse is condemning it from both sides.
Yes, from both sides.
Let's say a Muslim man
Yes.
cannot marry an idolater woman.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
An idolatrous man cannot marry a Muslim woman.
Yes.
So for them, the door is closed for Muslims.
Yes.
From the male and the female.
Yes. The other chapter is chapter 60, Surah Al-Mumtahina. It is clearly mentioned. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا جاءكم المؤمنات مهاجرات فامتحنوهن الله أعلم بإيمانهن فإن علمتموهن مؤمنات فلا ترجعوهن إلى الكفار. So very clear, all you who believe, when believing women come to you as refugees, examine them. Allah knows best their faith. Then if you find them true believers, send them not back to the disbelievers. The case of the daughter of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it so happened. Then the last verse we were discussing about is in chapter 5, verse 6. Allah the Almighty mentioned, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم اليوم أحل لكم الطيبات وطعام الذين أوتوا الكتاب حل لكم وطعامكم حل لهم والمحصنات من المؤمنات والمحصنات من الذين أوتوا الكتاب من قبلكم إذا آتيتموهن أجورهن محسنين غير مسافهين ولا متخذي أخدان ومن يكفر بالإيمان فقد حبط عمله وهو في الآخرة من الخاسرين. These days all good things have been made lawful for you, and the food of the people of the book is lawful for you, and your food is lawful for them. And lawful for you are the chaste believing women and the chaste women from among those who were given book before you. Very clear. Up to this place, we are comfortable. They are lawful for us. But like he rightly mentioned, it should not be a priority. You know, here we have to understand this in this context that, for example, we have a traveler who travels. When he is away for 1 year or 1 month, or 2 years, 3 years, if he's not seen, it is the right of the woman to, end that marriage. But then if it so happened that the marriage didn't even end, but somebody is looking after her to marry her, when that man saw off, when he comes back at that point, so that marriage still stand. The one who is looking for her in marriage will definitely have to stop because she is a married woman. So in this case also the same thing, the same scenario, in different angles. That's what happened. That's why the Holy Prophet ﷺ did not conduct fresh nikah, because the marriage were never ended.
Announced that it has been ended.
Yes.
Yeah.
But just only the Holy Prophet ﷺ advised her that at this point in time, he is not lawful for you. Because you are a Muslim, you are a believer, he is a disbeliever. So that is very clear from both these three aspects.
Jazakumullah, Ustaz Demba and Ustaz Ruhan. I wanted to add some follow-up questions, but unfortunately this is all time allowed us. Thank you very much for being with us. Inshallah, we may continue this discussion in our next program, inshallah. So dear viewers, this is all time allowed us. We were on a point that we wanted to make a lot of clarification on, but this is all the time allowed us. You can continue with us in the next episode. Inshallah, we'll continue the same topic. Until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
صل على مبيننا صل على محمد صل على نبينا صل على محمد